Hello internet people, my name is Robert, and in this extensive Typeform tutorial for beginners I will show you how to create a conversational survey from scratch or using a beautiful template. I'll go through most common question types, how to change the design, create simple logic based on responses, use the respondent's first name in the following question as a variable, and at the end I'll explain how to view the responses and embed Typeform on your website. The best part is that most features are included in the free version of Typeform, although you can only receive 10 responses per month, but it should be more than enough to test this tool and just give it a try. Tips with punch. Let's get started by going to the description of this video and clicking on the first link. And you land on this page, and this is the Typeform homepage, and we're gonna just sign up to it. Let's start with that. Sign up, enter your email address, and then just check these. If you agree to the terms of services and privacy policy, just check those, and then let's create the free account. All right, it tells you here that you need to check your inbox and activate your account. So let's do that. So you'll receive an email like this one, and just go here and click on activate my account. You can close this. And you'll be greeted with the setup guide. Just answer the questions. I'll pause the video and I'll also do that. All right, so let's do this. It's gonna set it up for you now, and it just jumps right into it. You could start now your Typeform from scratch, use a template, or create it for me. But before we do that, I want to show you how you can actually do this. So this is kind of divided in workspaces. So Typeform always has workspace for you. So you could create another workspace. If there's a specific campaign you're running, you could put all the forms in that under that campaign, and that way you keep it very organized. So let's say this is for me like a website feedback. So I'm gonna create a new workspace. And here you can see you can create a Typeform. So let's go ahead, and now you see the same pop-up. First, I'm gonna just show you that there's a lot of different templates. So let's take a look. So if you're interested in those, for example, these are all templates you could just copy and then fill in with your own details, updated it, and then you could go live with it. But let's say I'm looking for a feedback form. I could now take a look here. For example, this looks quite funky. Let's preview it. And you can see, okay, let's start with this one. Okay, really positive. Like this. And if you don't want to type in, you could also just press on these arrows and go down, and you can just browse what it does and what's in the template itself. And on the left, you can see how many questions this includes and also how long it usually takes to answer this survey. Now you could use this template, but I'm going to show you how to do it from scratch. So let's go back to template gallery. Let's just close all of this here at the top. And now we are able to create another Typeform under the same workspace. So now we're gonna start from scratch. You could also use this create for me. It kind of just gives you the basis for whatever you need. But I think we can just start from scratch. So let's do that. And let's give it a name. Website feedback form. And again, you can choose what are you creating here. That's gonna kind of help Typeform to help you along the way. So I'm just going to select feedback form because that's what it is. But there's a lot of options there, as you can see. Typeform is divided kind of in 3 sections when you start working on this. You have the content section, which is where you add new elements, so new questions, and also where you can kind of adjust the order once we have more questions. Then you have the canvas itself. So this is where we're going to update the questions. For example, here you can start typing already your question. And then you have here on the right, there's question settings. You have question settings, which are specific to this question, this number 1 question, and which is multiple choice for now. Then you have design, which is for the whole theme. And then you have logic. Based on one question's answer, you can jump questions or do all kinds of logic based on that. So let's start with simple things. Let's go through what kind of questions do we have. So you can choose the type from here, because we already have one question here, or you can press on this plus and add a new one. I find this one a bit easier because it's grouped a bit better. So here on the left are the most used ones and the recommended ones. And these change based on what you selected. So this is a feedback form, so they kind of recommend these. You can see that there are a lot of different question types here. Most of them are pretty common and descriptive. I think the best way to know what they do is just trying them out. But I do want to highlight a few cool features, such as integration with Calendly for smooth scheduling so that respondents can only select available times, and the option to receive payments through Typeform. So let's start not with a question, but actually I want to add a welcome screen. So let's add a welcome screen. Here we can say hello or whatever. We just can introduce this topic. And I'm going to just add something like this. So we want to hear your advice. Cool. So then once the user clicks on start, they would go to the first question. The first question is quite simple. It's going to be a multiple choice, which is already selected here. And I'm going to add the question here. So the question will be, how did you find our website? And then obviously you could add some description there if you want to. And then I can add choices. I can just update this one. I just click on it and you can already type it in. I'm just copy pasting it from Google Docs like this. And then if you need more, you can click on this add choice. So I'm going to add influencer and then I could add other. And here you actually have the other option. If I add it, you see that it adds it there. So you don't need to add it by itself. So you can just delete this and have other option. And if somebody selects that, it will also have an additional field where they can type in whatever they use to find our website. Okay, and then there's a few other settings you can do for multiple choice. You can make it required. You can also add the ability to select multiple selections. So for me, it's okay. Let's say I'm going to just put it to exactly 2, but this means they need to select 2. So could be also a range. So like this, 1 to 2. Then you can randomize the questions. So if you don't want them always appear in the same order. So let's do that. It doesn't show up now here, but every time you reload the page, you'll see that they're in different order. And then you can see that you can vertical align them or just have them like this. So really up to you what you prefer. You can add image or video to this. So let me add something. You can upload your own image, but you can also just select an image from the gallery. Obviously this right now, I'll just add some image like this. You can see, okay, cool. And in this case, it's actually added to this right-hand side. Now, not all templates have this, and I'll show you in a second how to change the template. Then for the layout, you have a few options. You can choose one without image, so the image shows up like this. Then you have image on the right, small, image on the left, small, image big one on the right, and like we had it already, the opposite, and also image in the background. Now this doesn't work really well because the image has a lot of colors and dark colors and you don't see the question. So I'm going to keep it to what they suggested from the start. Now if you get tired of this image, you can always delete it. You have here the remove button, and also you can edit the image itself. So there's a few settings here. You can crop the image, do a few adjustments, for example, flip it, and also add some basic filters. So let's say the 1977 like this. You can see it just adds a bit of a small filter on this one. You can also adjust the brightness and alt text for it. This is for Google. All right, now the first question is ready. So actually, I would like to set my design already because now I'm not sure I want to use this kind of design. So let's go here on the right, click on design. And you can create your own themes later on. But let me show you what's in the gallery first. So there's a bunch of themes here that you can use. Some of them are paid, and some of them are free. So if it doesn't have the paid one, you can choose it. So let's say, oh, this looks quite funky. I'm going to use this one. So I'm going to keep it like this. Now, in my themes, you can also set your own theme. So you can click here, and then there's this little plus. If you click on it, this is where you can set your own theme. And it just basically works by, you can choose your own font. So let's say, I don't know, you just choose one of those fonts. I think I like Roboto, so I'm going to choose that one. You can adjust the question color, so it's this one. So if I want to keep a bit more bright colors, I can change that. I can change from here to something brighter, the whole theme like this. Now I just clicked on these presets, but you can easily change them to your liking like this. So you can see that it's changing here as I drag this. And if you have, for example, already a brand, you have a logo, you could just use your hex color code here, and then you can make it look like as if the user is using your website. So really match it nicely. But for now, let's say I'm happy with this, although it's quite colorful right now. You could also just save as new theme. And now at any point, you could just come back to it and use the same theme over any other questionnaire as well. So you can see now I enabled my theme now. That's the selected option. But actually, because I didn't take it so much time to do this, I'm going to go back to gallery and just select that same theme that I already showed you like this. I think it just looks a bit better. Okay, and at some point, although we only have one question, but you want to kind of preview it. And you can, anytime you want to preview this, you can just click on this eye icon. And now you can see that you can view this on mobile or desktop. We're going to keep it on mobile. So here you can click on start. And here's the first question. Okay, where did you hear from? A friend. And then submit. And basically, because it's very short, we don't have more than that. That's all we have right now. But let's go back and let's create a few more questions. So from here, I'm going to click on this and I'm going to select long text. This is just the open-ended question, so I'm going to just add it like this. And now you can type the answer here. Now, what's cool here is if we ask something in the previous question, we can actually also add that as a variable. Now let's do that. Let's actually ask for the person's name. So we come here, add a plus, and choose short text. Make sure here that this one is actually after the opening scene. And so that's the first question. We're just going to ask your first name. And now they can answer anything here. Obviously, they're just going to answer their name. And now we can go to the second question. And if we click here, if you start typing at, you can see that now you can recall information from. So in this case, there's only one question before this, so we can recall the first name. And now it doesn't look like anything, but it's actually a variable. So if we take a look at it as a preview, so yeah, started, what's your name? Robert, okay. And you can see now, whoa, now my name is actually here. It just makes it so much more personalized when you have it this way. And then you can continue with this. All right, let's go back by pressing on this arrow here. We're going to continue. So we have this question that we just created. This is the long answer. And I just wanted to show you that you have some settings here. So you can make it required. You can also set to max characters so people don't go crazy with this. So let's say, I don't know, 1,000 characters. And then you can add image or video to it. Right now, I don't think it's needed. I'm going to keep it as is. Let's next create another question, which is going to be opinion scale. But I could also use NPS for this. Let's add the question. Like this. And I'm going to add the labels here, and not likely at all. And then here, very likely. Now 10 for me is way too many, so I'm going to just reduce it to 5 like this. You can make it required here if you want to. All right, cool. So let's add a bit of logic to this one, because let's say there's people that kind of feel quite negative about our website. So our customer care wants to contact those people. So let's create a new question here, and I'm going to ask for a phone number, but you could also ask for email. So let's say for a phone number. So I'm going to add something like this. And we're going to ask for the phone number like this. We would like to make it up to you. So please give us your phone number or email or whatever you want to ask. And they can now enter that if they want to. I'm going to keep it as not required because, yeah, you don't want people to be pushed for this. And now we can go to the logic section. So let's go here. You can see that here you can just drag this and see what kind of questions you have already. Or then you can also click on this contents and you see the same thing is here. So what you can do here is now, okay, when they answer here, let's click on this, how likely you recommend. So right now we need to add a rule. So if this answer is equal to 0, or actually let's have is lower than a 3, then we're going to go to the fifth question, which is the phone number. So we're going to ask for their phone number at this point so that we can make it up for them, or maybe give them a coupon code or some way to kind of make up for the bad experience. And then, so this is okay. We can click on done. In all other cases, it's going to go to, let's select, and we're just going to select the A, which should be the end. We're going to create an endpoint anyway, so we haven't done that. So now if you save it, you see that there's like this deviation here. And this is where you see that if they answer 3 or lower, then we're going to ask for their phone number. Otherwise, they're just going to go to the last kind of the end screen. And I just want to mention that Typeform has actually quite powerful logic section. So you can really deep dive into this. You have, if you're creating a quiz or want to score a quiz, you can also do it right here in the logic section. There'll be a separate tutorial how to do that, and the link will be in the description, or you can click on the white YouTube card that should appear on your top right corner right now. So let's take a look how that looks like. So I'm going to preview it, and let's change it to desktop just for this one. Then click on start, and I'm going to just skip these questions because we don't need it. None of them are required. So now here, let's answer, for example, 2. You can see now there's a question for the phone number. But if I skip it, so let's say it's very likely, and I submit it. Okay, no. I need to answer this one because it was a required field. So, all right, so if I answer 5 here and submit it, it goes to the last end screen, basically. But we don't have a proper end screen. Let's change that. Let's go back. And let's go back to the questions. So in here, we can add a new ending. Let's click on this one and then end screen. Or actually, we don't need this one. There's already one. If I click on it, I can update this to thanks for your feedback. And you could add a description also here. Now, unfortunately, you cannot put your social media in these icons. These are just share icons, so people can share this form with their friends. And you can see this one that created Typeform just because this is a free account still. That's why you're seeing this. Now, you could now set here if you want to show the social share icons. You could also disable them like I did, and you have the button. Later on, if you have the paid option, you can also set button link. So you could link that button to something else, but you can see you need to upgrade to do that. And you could also add an image or a video. So you could add some sort of a GIF if you want, or something very happy that they actually completed this feedback. Okay, once you're happy with everything, you can just publish this questionnaire or a survey or a feedback form, whatever you want to call it. Just click here on publish. And now you can have the link here. You can copy this link. And if you go to the URL like this, you can see that this is your form now. And you can start it. So let's just do it quickly. Robert. Okay. Then you have the first question. Just keep it like this. Blah, blah. And how likely we're going to... I'm going to answer 2 because it's going to ask for the phone number. Okay. Okay. I'm going to just add the same as the example like this. Submit. All right. Thanks for your feedback. And this is your form for now. Obviously, you're going to spend a bit more time on this and create better questions. But this is now a form that you can share with somebody. And with the free account, you get to have 10 answers every month. So it's not a lot, but if that's not enough, you can just sign up for the premium membership. Let's close this window and go back to this one. And because I want to show you a few more tabs that you have here. You have the Connect tab. Typeform integrates really well with other services like Google Sheets, Excel. You have also Slack here and so on. You can connect to a lot of different tools here. And you can see that they explain what it does here. Sometimes it's quite simple. For example, for Excel, you can just export some stuff into Excel and connect it that way. Take a look if that's interesting to you. And for developers, there's also webhooks. So you can send some information through that. Then you have the share. Here you're able to share the URL. You can copy the URL from here. This is where you could embed it on your website. You have a few different options how to embed it. So you have the standard, which is just basically a form in the middle of your page. but you could also have some sort of a pop-up appearing. If you choose a pop-up, you can also design it a little bit and have advanced, like when does it launch. So for example, you could launch it after 30 seconds or so, but that's under the premium account. So if you want to place this on your website, embed it directly there, this is where you would do it. Let's go back and grab this standard one, and you can just grab the code here. So get the code. This is the code you need to paste, how it will look like on your website. So this is my website, and I'm using Elementor in WordPress, but pretty much all the page builders have this kind of a feature. So all you have to do is come and search for HTML element. So like this, we're gonna just drag it here. And now I can paste that code in here. You can see it's just a quite short snippet of code, but immediately the form is already appearing here. So if I would go now, update it, and go and preview the changes, you would see on my about page, there is now a form. I can start it. I can start answering things here and so on. All right, let's go back to Typeform. Let's close this pop-up. And now let's go back to share. And the last option is here, the results. So this is the where you're going to start seeing results. And obviously you need a bit more responses to see something significant, but you can see here that I had 3 views, 2 starts and 2 submissions. So completion rate is actually 100% because 2 people started and 2 submitted. Now, obviously it was me, so obviously I submitted it. And you can see that they also indicate how long does it take to complete this form. If you have the paid plan, you also see a bit more information about it. You'll see drop-off rates and things like that per question. So it's much more in detail. It goes into details about each question and how they're performing. Now here you have few tabs. You can have the insights, summary. So you'll see summary per question. So for example, here, obviously that was my name. So they're always going to be different. But for example, for a multiple choice, it starts to make sense. Okay. After some time, you start saying, okay, we actually hear mostly from influencers. That's how they find out about our website and so on. In the response tab, you can see how each person responded individually. So here you can see their answer. At any point, if you want to export this, you can just press on this one, download the responses. You can download them as a CSV or just as an Excel file. And you can see you can also connect to your other apps here. I'm going to close it. Oh yeah, and one more thing in summary, I forgot to mention, you can generate a report which you can then share with other people without them actually having an account for Typeform. All right, let's take a look at some of the settings. These are generic settings, not specific to this form. So I'm going to go back to websites, so to the workspace. So in here, if you click on this icon here, you can go into settings, and you're now in the profile preferences. This is just basic stuff that you can change. Maybe an interesting part is communications. If you don't want to receive certain emails from Typeform, you can disable it here. And you also have a few things here that you might need later on, like personalized token and authorize some apps. But for example, if you want to add new members, you can invite from here. Right now, I only have 1 seat because I have the free account. If you have the paid one, you get more seats. So you can invite others to join this one and build Typeforms. And then you have the plan and billing, obviously, and developer apps. That's pretty much all you can do here. If you want to learn how the quiz logic works in Typeform, then check out this video right here where I'll dive deeper into that.